The story begins in Colombia, but it is not the Colombia that you and I love to visit nowadays. In reality, it is a completely desolate and strange world where you cannot even see the shadow of an animal, let alone a human being. And the reason for all this was a deadly and very serious virus that, in the blink of an eye, turned more than half of the human population into monsters. Now, only a small percentage of people remain, but for them, staying alive is like escaping the clutches of death every single day. Somehow, they are fighting the battle of life and death by living in small tribes. Now, we are introduced to one of these tribes, whose leader is named Uri, and his son, Savan, is the tribe's most capable hunter. One day, Savan crosses the borderline looking for prey. At that moment, his father Uri appears and scolds his son, saying, "Don't you know that going past this borderline is strictly prohibited?" Savan tells his father that he knows all the tribe's laws very well, but our own people have been feeding on grass for a week. If we want to stay alive, someone has to step up and take charge. Uri actually has total faith in his son's abilities, so he agrees with him and gives him the green light to go hunting. Now everyone moves forward for the hunt. After a few steps, they run into Kaleb, who is sitting quietly in one spot. He is a top-tier tracker and was following the tracks of a prey for his people. Even after wandering around for a long time, they find nothing there. Therefore, Uri tells everyone to just head back to the tribe. But right at that moment, Savan hears a noise coming from behind the bushes. When they get a little closer, an enormous man-eating bear appears right in front of them. This bear was much bigger than an average bear, and bringing it down was not something just anyone could achieve. But thanks to the cunning and clever movements of Savan and Kaleb, they actually managed to hunt it. Seeing the dead bear at their feet, Uri is overjoyed and gives them its heart as a gift, because thanks to them, the tribe is not only supplied for a week, but for a whole month of feasting. Everyone is starting to celebrate when one of their companions comes running toward them, begging for help. Uri knows right away that the monster has caught him and that, in a short time, he is going to turn into a cannibal just like them. Now, there is only one cure for this, and that is to end the guy immediately. Chief Uri grabs his spear to kill him, but Savan stops his father because the man is Savan's friend. But even so, Uri has to do it against his will and kill him. It was the only way to keep the tribe safe. After that, everyone rushes back to the tribe, where Uri tells the elders everything and advises them to pack up and move because the monsters have found them and could attack any second. But the elders flatly refuse because they have no other safe place to go. Meanwhile, Kaleb says that we are the ones who forge our own destiny. We have to get out of here, break the safety circle, and get help. My father, Lewis, always believed there were other tribes out there and we should look for them and ask for help. An elder says, "Your father was a stubborn and crazy man who never listened to us, and that is exactly why he ended up the way he did." Kaleb says, "My father didn't go out for himself, but for the good of the tribe. He always felt there was a world outside and people who had a cure for this virus. He simply went out to look for those people, but unfortunately, he never came back. Perhaps that is why the tribe didn't believe him back then and doesn't believe him now." Kaleb definitely doesn't like hearing these kinds of comments about his father, especially from the elders. So that night, he reassures his sister, Miru, telling her that he has always believed in his father. He can't spend his life hiding like a coward either. He needs to know what is out there in the world. So he promises his sister he will return and leaves as soon as the sun rises. Well, Kaleb hadn't been gone for long when he hears some movement on the road. When he takes a look, a massive number of human monsters is heading toward his tribe. It looked like an army of wild animals ready for a hunt. Kaleb is terrified to see this and runs back to the tribe. He tells everyone that they are coming, but by then it was already too late. Although they fought hard, the cannibals were too many and began to take over everything. Uri tells the rest of the tribe to get into the cave. But meanwhile, a man-eating monster attacks him from behind, and Uri dies right there. The good news is that the rest of the tribe managed to get into the cave, except for Kaleb, Savan, and his wife Dorel. Now, Kaleb explains to the two of them that they need to go out and look for help from other tribes. Otherwise, they will never save their people. But Savan does not trust his words at all and is not ready to go anywhere. Meanwhile, Dorel tells him that staying here is already useless. "We really should go out and look for other tribes to get their help. Otherwise, forget about our people." we will be killed too. Savan listens to Dorel, and the three of them set out to find a new world. On the way, Savan finds a book in Kaleb's backpack with some kind of map. Dorel asks, "Where did you get this book?" He says, "It's my father's. He taught me how to read and write." They are all talking when suddenly a monster attacks them. When Kaleb looks into its eyes, he realizes that it is none other than his father, who had been missing for years. He probably turned into one of them after being hunted by another cannibal. Suddenly, a flying arrow comes out of nowhere and kills the monster that was overpowering Kaleb. This man is named Amal, and he used to be a friend of Kaleb's father, Lewis. He offers his condolences to Kaleb and explains, "This is no longer your father. The day the zombies hunted him, he turned into something completely different. The good thing is that none of you got a single scratch from them. Keeping safe is extremely important because it's not just about getting infected by the virus. Even the breath left behind by a nearby monster can turn you from human into one of them. It just takes some time to take effect. You'd better come with me." But Savan says no. Then Amal says, "If you don't, in a short time your mouth is going to dry up. You'll be gasping for air, and then this infection will spread through your veins. And you already know exactly what happens after that." Hearing this, they begin to follow Amal. On the way, Savan asks Amal, "If we are infected, why are you taking us with you? Aren't we a threat to you too?" Amal says, "I have taken the antidote. It's a yellow powder that was already running low, and what little was left was stolen by the survivors living in the city." Savan asks, "How is it that these cannibals never found your house?" Amal says, "Because they are afraid of water, and my house is on the other side of the river, so they could never get close to me." In a short time, they arrive at Amal's house, which looks like an old, desolate, and empty building. Amal lives here with his wife Nina and his son Persak. Nina gets furious with her husband when she sees them. "Why on earth did you bring these people here? Those monsters are going to follow them straight to us. If you don't care about me, at least think about your son." Amal says, "These people have been left homeless. Their tribe was attacked by cannibals, and they don't have a single mark on their bodies. There is still time for them." Listening to her husband, Nina softens up a bit and lets them in. Here, Amal tells them the story behind this virus, saying that it was all the fault of us humans. Some scientists were trying to play God and started experimenting to revive dead animals. Because of that, this virus was born accidentally and destroyed the world. And then Amal tells Kaleb that it was his father, Louis, who actually found the cure for this disease. Hearing this, Kaleb feels incredibly proud of him. He goes on to say that Louis made a yellow powder that can expel the virus infection, but it only works on those who haven't turned into zombies yet, because once someone transforms, this medicine is useless. Amal also says that Kaleb's father told him about this disease and taught him to read and write so that in the future he could find an even better cure and save the entire human race. Now, Amal tells them the plan. The formula for the medicine is held by the hidden people living in the city, who are still alive and using it. If we get that formula, maybe we can save our people. Meanwhile, the people of the tribe are shown hiding in the cave, but the cannibals were not willing to let them go. They had been trying to move a large rock at the main entrance for hours. A boy from the tribe says, "Why don't we go deeper into the cave and look for a new exit?" But an elder of the tribe says that is a dangerous task and strictly forbids it. Instead, they advise staying still and praying to God. But the boy doesn't feel that their words carry much weight. So he goes deeper into the cave looking for another path, and Kaleb's sister Miru, along with another boy, go with him. The three of them begin to walk toward the interior of the cave, and at one point, they find a path, but it was full of water. So Miru jumps in to try and find an exit, but after a while, she comes out screaming. In reality, she feels something sticking to her body, and when they look, they see that they are blood-sucking leeches stuck to various parts of Miru's body. Miru is in a lot of pain, and seeing this, the two boys panic and tell her to come back. But Miru flatly refuses because they have come too far and there is no turning back now. On the other hand, we see the cannibals trying to open the cave to turn the tribe into their dinner, although the people of the tribe repeatedly attack them with spears from inside the cave to keep them away. During this struggle, one of the elders of the tribe becomes gravely ill. Blood begins to come out of his nose. This was probably due to the breath left by the monsters on the other side. Meanwhile, deep in the cave, after wandering around for a long time, Miru finally finds an exit at the top. She is overjoyed to see this, but as she tries to climb up, she sees some monsters there who probably also found this path and were coming down one by one. Seeing this, Miru is terrified and her foot slips, causing the three of them to fall hard, and one of the boys breaks his leg. That boy tells his companions to run while he stays behind to face the cannibals. But as soon as they enter the cave, the monsters devour him in minutes, and then they all go after Miru. Miru runs and crosses a pool of water to the other side and sees that the monsters are afraid to cross the water. She realizes that is their weakness. Then she reaches her tribe and sees that everyone is deadly sick. Now we see Amal, who, with the help of the girls, built a small boat and set off with Kaleb, Savan, and Dorel in search of the yellow powder. Although this path was not going to be easy, because after a while the monsters began to throw rocks at them. But fortunately, everyone survived. As they row, Amal tells them that when Kaleb's father invented the yellow powder, we began to feel that we would no longer have to live in hiding, and that we would rebuild the world. But a guy named Gezin stole that powder through deception and crushed all our dreams. Dorel asks him, "Why don't we just go to Gezin and ask him for that yellow powder? He will definitely help us seeing our situation." Amal says, if he were a good person, why would he steal the powder in the first place? And now it's to the point where, forget about talking to him, you can't even get close, because he has taken over an island and turned it into a total fortress, surrounded by hundreds of soldiers. After rowing for a few hours, they arrive at a place very close to Gezin's fort. But before going there, Amal gives them some advice and climbs up a nearby tower to light a fire as a signal. Meanwhile, he spots some monsters coming from behind, moving fast toward the three of them. Amal drops everything and motions for them to run, but none of the three could hear him at all. And as soon as they see the monsters behind them, they drop everything and run for their lives. Amal immediately comes down from the tower to help them and begins to shoot arrows. But in the midst of all the chaos, he falls into a pit. A monster enters the pit to drink Amal's blood, but is eliminated by an arrow from Amal. Because the space was small, it was very difficult for him to get out. Meanwhile, Savan reaches the boat and tells them they have to move. But Kaleb didn't want to leave without Amal. They have a huge argument, and right at that moment, Dorel's nose begins to bleed, which means she had already been infected by the virus. Out of necessity, Kaleb has to make this decision for Dorel because he really liked her, and they head toward the city. On the other hand, seeing the fire that Amal lit on the tower, some survivors from that area come to help him and save his life. Here, Amal tells them that he found Lewis's son, Kaleb, who also knows how to read and write like his father and can recreate that yellow powder. Hearing this, everyone sees a ray of hope. Meanwhile, in the city, Savan, Kaleb, and Dorel run into a guy and ask him for Gezin's location. But as soon as he hears the name, he starts running. They follow him and finally reach Gezin. Kaleb tells Gezin directly, "I am Lewis's son. My father taught me to read and write. If you give me that powder, I can figure out the formula, make more powder, and help my tribe along with thousands of other people. I can even make some for you." But the stubborn Gezin still won't listen and says, "If you know how to read and write, go find the formula in the library yourself." Then some people take Kaleb to the library. As soon as he leaves, Gezin's daughter, Rosie, asks him, "Father, did you steal this powder from Kaleb's father?" Gezin says, "Whatever I did it for my family and I have no other answer." Hearing this, Rosie understands everything and feels bad for Kaleb and his people. Taking the opportunity, Savan asks Rosie for help because she was the only one who could lead them to the powder. Otherwise, the people of his tribe would die. So Rosie agrees to help Savan. After a while of searching in the library, Kaleb finds the formula for the yellow powder written by his father. He becomes incredibly happy to see it and immediately gets to work to manufacture the medicine. On the other hand, the people of the tribe are shown dying one by one. An old man was so broken by his condition that he began to beg for death, and Miru could no longer bear to see his pain. So she takes a spear and stabs him, releasing him from the agony. Meanwhile, Rosie goes with her father to help Savan and slyly tells him that someone is looking for the yellow powder in his room. Well, Savan, who was waiting above, sees all this and knocks Gezin unconscious. But due to the infection, Savan's condition was also critical. Rosie gives the powder to Savan and he improves in the blink of an eye. Then Savan gives this powder to Dorel and then to Kaleb. Well, Kaleb had already manufactured the medicine using his father's formula. Now they leave there without wasting any time. But to reach their tribe, they had to cross a path between two hills that goes over a rope bridge. When they are halfway across the bridge, Gezin and his men appear and begin to attack them with arrows, though somehow they manage to reach the other side and save their lives. Savan thinks about cutting the bridge's rope so Gezin's men can't reach them, but an arrow shot by Gezin pierces his chest. He dies on the spot. Dorel is absolutely devastated to see this, but they had no choice but to run toward their tribe as fast as possible because they were not only afraid of Gezin, but also of the cannibals. Fortunately, they run into Amal on the way, who had arrived with his other companions to help them, and the three of them head to the cave. In the cave, Miru's condition was getting worse every second. She was heavily infected and was begging her friends to kill her. Just at that moment, Amal and the others arrive. They all attack the monsters outside, and taking the opportunity, Kaleb gives the powder to his sister and the other members of the tribe, saving their lives. Then everyone goes outside, fights the monsters, and manages to defeat them successfully. But out of nowhere, Gezin appears and demands that Kaleb return his medicine. Kaleb tells him that he is never going to get that medicine back because it was never his. Hearing this, Gezin shoots an arrow at Kaleb in a fit of rage, but Amal throws himself in front of him. Amal made this sacrifice because he knew perfectly well that, out of all of them, only Kaleb knew how to read and write, and one day he would invent that medicine and save the lives of the entire human race. So he did not hesitate to give his life to save the remaining people on Earth. Seeing Amal in this state, Kaleb loses control and throws a nearby axe directly at Gezin, killing him right there. After that, a scene from some time later is shown where Amal is sitting with Kaleb, meaning that Amal survived that impact and is still alive. We see Dorel with them and Kaleb expresses his love to her. In addition, he and his sister Miru are teaching the children of the tribe how to read and write. Then he heads toward the city, looking for more components for the medicine to fulfill his father's dream. And with that, this story also ends. I hope you liked the summary. If you made it to the end, don't forget to leave a like on the video and write us a nice comment like you always do. And for those who are watching us for the first time, subscribe to the channel to see all the upcoming summaries. See you in the next movie. Goodbye.